Well, we are thrilled, and thank you so much to Coach Johnny Dawkins for joining us. I was thinking about the NBA draft lottery last night as the NBA held its annual draft lottery, and Coach Dawkins, who's the UCF men's basketball head coach, was a former NBA lottery draft pick, one of the most influential recruits that Duke University ever had, previous head coach at Stanford University's 10 years in the NBA, and of course has taken the UCF men's basketball program to amazing heights, and Kavaliro does our very best to support UCF in all athletics, but in particularly the men's basketball team. And we're so excited that you could share a few moments with us talking about leadership, fighting through adversity, your story. And I promise we won't take too much of your time, Coach, but thank you so much for joining us. I'll give you the floor, and don't hesitate if you have any questions, but it's an honor to have you join us this morning.
Hey, thanks, Bill. First of all, how are you guys doing? I know it's difficult on a Zoom call, but how are you maintaining? Is everybody okay?
Doing great, sir.
Yeah, we're hanging in there.
Doing our best coach life.
Well, good. That's important. I mean, I may start this, maybe with my story first. I've been fortunate. I had two parents in the house who really, helped shape, I think, the person that I am. My father was a bus driver in inner city in DC, and my mother was a social worker. And the thing I saw them do all the time that I think was great for me is I always saw them, they were always grinding. They were always working. But they were always positive about what they were doing and trying to provide for us. And I think that was a great lesson for me, because at the end of the day, I use my sport the same way. I would see my parents go out the house, every day, Monday through Friday, and that's what they did. And so what I did is I wanted to be a professional basketball player. And my father said, if you want to be a professional basketball player, you have to work really hard to do that. And I just took what I saw them do every day and I applied it to the sport. So I saw them get up, work all day, come home. And so I would get up in the off season, out of school, in the summer, and I would just go out and work all day on my game, on my craft. And lo and behold, I got better and better and better and end up having a terrific career. And so I apply that to pretty much everything that we do now, is that work ethic, that belief in, you have a goal, you're trying to attain it, and how you approach it is, there's no shortcuts to it. There's no secret magic. I can't sprinkle no magic dust on any player, any person. It's just through your work ethic. And then being fortunate in certain situations. That's what it comes down to. How hard are you willing to work for what you want? And that's how you attack it. And I was fortunate enough to do that. And I apply those same things to this day as a coach, as a father. And so that's been my formula for success. And now with what's going on right now, the reason I asked you, everyone, how are you doing? Because I know it's tough times. We're in uncertain times right now. But the same things I've learned then have helped me, through what we're going through now. And that's the positivity, the belief in that if you keep working, you'll work your way out of these things. And so for me, think about this, for everyone on this call. We're in 2020. And you may have heard this before. We've had a pandemic, like in, 1917, the Spanish flu pandemic. We've had, civil unrest, like the 1960s. We've had, the stock market crash, like in, the Great Depression in late 20s and early 30s. So we've had all three of those things happen in 6 months. There's no one living that can say those things usually happen once every century or so. We've had them all in 6 months. So it's okay for everyone to be uncertain and a little unsure and where we headed, as a society and all those things. To me, it's only natural. So don't feel that you are like, I don't know why I'm having these feelings or why I'm depressed about this. We're living in difficult times. And I think what's going to happen at the end of the day, I'm a big believer that we will get through this together, and we will get through this, and we'll be better for this experience. None of us know why this has been placed in front of us. And, I'm not even trying to question why. I do know the fact that it is here as a competitor, I look at it as a challenge. I want to be a better version of me. I want my team and the people that I'm associated with to be a better version of themselves as we move forward. We've had a lot of time to think and reflect because we've been pretty much at home. You've been quarantined for 6 months and starting to, loosen up some now, but still not to a point where you're real active. So our lives have been changed, have been disrupted. So use that time to, like I know I have, and I try to have my players to just reflect on what's going on. How can we make it better? How can we help society to become better? I mean, I look at, I'm a cup half full guy, not a cup half empty guy. So with everything going on, it's not knocking me back from the standpoint of what I see on the news or whatever. It's like, how can we make it better? As a coach, our job is to win. Our job is to win the game of basketball, to win in life. So how can we win? So I'm looking at this from a team perspective. How can, for instance, because I'm in the United States, how can our country win? That's all I care about. I want our country to win, just like I want my team to win. And so I'm going to do everything in my power, and hopefully our players will continue to follow suit, everything in our power to help us be the best version of ourselves. And so I think when you throw yourself into something like that, as opposed to all the negative energy, all of the, what's going wrong with everything in the country or in the world right now, that's the wrong approach. We have an opportunity because of things that have happened to make everything better. And so we should always be striving as a coach. We're always striving for perfection. We know we can never attain it, but that's always the goal. It's like I tell our players, we want to have games where we have no turnovers. We want to be perfect in that area. Now, do we ever do that? No. But the fact that we're striving for that means we're going to be better. And I think we look at the same way when we look at what's going on. We should strive to make things as good as they possibly can be. And the only way you can do that is with a positive attitude, with positive energy, and you work towards it. And that's kind of been my formula. And like I said, all the things I learned from when I was with my parents, their work ethic, the way they approach things, and it was tough. But the thing that I loved about it is I never saw them, complaining about it. They just went out there and they did something about it. You know what? We have to provide for our family. We have to provide for our children. This is how we're going to do it. And they went out and did it well. And they taught me a valuable lesson in that regard that I carry on, like I said, to this day. So I really want to just open up with that and then have it, be more open because I can talk at you guys for an hour. But I really wanted to throw it out for you guys because there may be specific questions you may have, and I'll be happy to try my best to answer them for you. And I think that'll be better because it'll be a little more engaging.
I love it, Coach. And we'll throw it out there. I'll start off the questions if you don't mind. And thank you again for doing this. How hard was it 2 years ago to coach against your mentor, Coach K, in the NCAA tournament? Who I know you think of as a father figure, your son's playing for you. How hard was that experience? And was that also a foul in the last second when we got pushed down low? Because I think it may have been. Well,
first of all, great question. It was challenging. Of course, when that's my alma mater, man, we've had so many, Coach and I have shared so many amazing experiences there when I was a player and as a coach that was difficult. One of the most difficult games I've ever had to coach in. I tried to prepare my team as best I could. I think the fortunate thing about our team was we play every game during the season. I tell them this the entire season. We play every game as if we're playing, for lack of better teams, like we're playing Kentucky or like we're playing Duke or like we're playing Carolina. We play every game like that the entire season. So that when we play the Duke or play a team of that caliber, our guys have been accustomed to training that way. So in our preparation, I never had to worry about our guys going, okay, we got this game against that team. We have to change what we do. For us, it was just business as usual. It's like, okay, this is how we train. We train like every game is a championship game for us. So I knew that our guys had seen that 30-plus games already. So I wasn't concerned about how we would perform, because I knew we'd be confident. I knew we'd been put in tough situations before and that, we'd find a way to be competitive. And so we did. And then as far as the foul goes, and, that's up to the refs, those calls. But, I thought we had our opportunities. I'm never going to, cry about what happens at the end because we had our opportunities. We had a minute and a half down the stretch of the game. And if we had executed the way we knew how down the stretch, I think we could have closed that game out. You know, we had too many plays where we got out of character down the stretch that led to them having extra opportunities. And that's what really hurt us. But you know what? I was really proud of our guys, because if you're going to go out, that's the way you want to go out. I thought we went out. We didn't go out passive or tentative. We went out. You know, I always tell our guys, we want to fight forward. We want to fight going forward. We don't want to fight on our heels. And so we were fighting going forward. They just carried it to a point where, you know, at the end, where maybe we need to slow it down and kind of rein them in a little bit. You know, they were still just fighting forward the way they knew how. And but if they didn't do that through 38 minutes of that game, we wouldn't have been in the position we were in at the end. So you have to let them kind of go, because I don't think we'd have been even close if they hadn't had that mindset for the first 38 minutes.
Well, I'll speak for you, and I definitely think it was a foul at the very end. But it was an amazing game.
No question, it was a foul, but it was the greatest game. It was the greatest game in UCF basketball history, and I don't know if I can watch it without crying, but it was the greatest.
I'm crying. Me too. I'm with you. I can't watch it without crying either. But you know, but so proud of our guys and what they did, and to get our program to that place, put us on the national stage. I thought they represented us all very well.
No doubt. And every person that we've interacted is the same way. I know that we've gotten a chance to know some of the folks personally. Tyler in Jacksonville office just asked a question. What was it like seeing the growth and development and coaching of Taco Fall, and seeing what he's done and how he's transformed his body and his game and in the NBA?
Well, I'm so proud of Taco. I saw him play the other night. He got on the court in a playoff game, and he performed very well at the end of the game. So I'm really happy for him. You know, I loved coaching Taco. I mean, Taco was so raw. Everything was new to him. He had only been playing basketball when I started coaching him organized for maybe 3 years. So he had so much to learn. So he was like a blank canvas. And, you know, just even things like when he would get hurt, you know, the first time he rolled his ankle, I'll never forget it. He's like, Coach, that's the first time I ever rolled my ankle. He was out for probably 6 to 8 weeks with a rolled ankle. I'm like, my gosh. I'm like, what have we gotten ourselves into? The next time he rolled his ankle, to show you what type of young man he was out maybe 3 weeks. The next time he was out maybe a week. And then the fourth time he rolled his ankle during the course of his career, he just tied shoes up tight and he kept practicing. I'm like, man, you've come a long way. So he was a worker. He wanted to be really good. And the thing about him being 7'6", he wanted to be normal. He just wanted to be, you know, I had to talk him into like, you're never going to be normal. You're 7'6". But he wanted to be like one of the guys. Just, hey, I'm just one of the guys. And I admired that about him, because a lot of guys, when they're that tall, they have a stigma about themselves. They carry themselves, you know, with a low self-esteem. They don't walk upright, chest out. They kind of walk hunch, try to shrink their size to be more, you know, accepted. And, you know, I liked him as he continued to grow. You know, he carries himself so well. He's proud of his height. He's proud of who he is. And what a great young man. You know, he was the only player I've ever been around. I've been around all-stars, played with all-stars, that if we went to the airport, he could not take 2 steps without people wanting to stop him, talk to him, take pictures. And I've said this before, we must have missed probably, or not missed, close to missing probably 15 flights during our course of our coaching him, where just getting him to the, you know, gate to, you know, get on the plane, because he never would say no. You know, we had to have a strategy when we went to the airport. Okay, you make sure you walk with Taco. You make sure you let everyone know that he has to get to this certain point, because we have to catch our flight. Because Taco, if you had went up to him without someone near him, he would always just say yes, whether it's to speak with you, whether it's to take a picture. I mean, what a beautiful young man. And like I said, just so humble. I'm just so happy for him and everything that he's getting.
Awesome. Rebecca, you had a question up in Jacksonville?
I think Tim Davis had a couple questions too.
Sure.
Yeah, so I had a question. I'm sure you've seen The Last Dance about the Chicago Bulls and their 97 season. And at the beginning of the season, they told Phil Jackson that regardless of what happens, that was going to be his last season and essentially the Bulls' last season. So what do you think about that decision and not giving them a chance to come back and defend their title?
I think as a competitor, you're like a gladiator. You know, most of the gladiators, they want to go out on their shields. And I think as a competitor, as a player, as a team, you want to go out on your shield, which means you want to go out there and have someone beat you. You don't want to have it be disassembled in any other way where you change it. Someone has to knock you off to take it. And so to me, that was a difficult one. I'm sure, Coach Jackson and those players would have all liked to continue that run and then to have someone take it away from them, not to have it kind of, kind of not to self-destruct or to, like I said, internally, make those decisions. I think the players always deserve that opportunity to go out, on their shield.
Awesome. And we'll go to Tim.
Yeah, Coach, 2 questions for you. So one, you talked about your goal was always be a professional basketball player. When did you decide that you wanted to go into coaching? If you always knew you were going to be a coach, or when did that happen? And then second question is, when all the end of season tournaments and everything were canceled, what was the message you gave to your team on how to improve in that scenario?
Well, with your first question, when did I decide I wanted to be a coach? I didn't think I wanted to get into coaching. Having played all my life, having worked and trained all my life, there's so much you sacrifice within your family when you take on this type of profession. I mean, I can't remember the last Thanksgiving I spent with my family. I can't remember, how much time I would have over Christmas. I'm talking about since I was probably 14 years old. And so that's tough. And so I was looking to kind of transition from basketball into something that would give me more permanency. Something like, I wanted to stay involved with youth, young people. I love educating. I love teaching. So I wanted to stay in that realm. So I was thinking, believe it or not, I wanted to be an athletic director. I would have a little more permanency. I would travel, but not as much as we travel in this profession. And I thought that would be fun. I could still give back to the young people I get a chance to interact with. And so it was kind of the perfect situation for me. And I was in a management program at Duke University studying that. And it just so happened 6 months into the program, Tommy Amaker, the head coach at Harvard, he had gotten his first head coaching position at Seton Hall. And so a position had opened up, and Coach K came to me and just kind of asked me, hey, you ever think about coaching? And, having played for him, I knew that meant I was getting ready to start coaching. so he affected my career. And I thank him to this day for that. I always do. There's not too many competitions go by where I don't have a chance to say, Coach, again, I just want to thank you for just opening my eyes and opening my mind up to something that I wasn't sure I wanted to get involved with. And I've loved it. And because my family's aged and my children have aged and grew up in our family and our program together, it's made for a wonderful experience because we've all grown up together in it. It's been like a family business, which would mean that we've all been in it. So there hadn't been much sacrificing with regards to me being gone because we're always together. And so it's really worked out well. And like I said, I couldn't be more thankful to Coach because I love what I do. I wake up every morning. What I do, I've never worked a day in my life as far as, this coaching career is concerned because I love what I do. I wake up and I do it literally for nothing because this has been great for me. And then you look at, your next question was what again?
When they canceled all the end of season tournaments and the season just came to end, what was the message to your team on basically how to use that opportunity to get better and kind of take a bad situation and turn it into a better one?
Well, that was probably the most difficult time in my coaching career because I knew the young people's career was going to end so abruptly. And when that happened and we were in the locker room getting ready to go out and play in our tournament game. And we're sitting there and we're waiting to go on the court. And then we get the call that the season's been canceled. And I'm looking around, and not only I'm looking at all my players, but especially my seniors. Matt Milan, Frank Burks, Dazon Ingram. I'm looking at these guys. I'm going, wow. I mean, I'm looking at them, and they're totally lost. They're devastated. And so I'm like, what do you say to the young person in this situation? And I just tried to fall back on things I've tried to tell our teams throughout the years is that tomorrow's not promised. It just isn't. We have a tendency to think it is because we wake up, but we don't have to wake up. And so I try to explain it to them that way. Like, look, this is why I always tell you guys tomorrow's not promised. That's why you try to max out every opportunity that you get in basketball and in life because you just never know when it's going to end. It can end when you least expect it. And it did. And so I kind of started there with our guys about that. And then I tried to console them and like, hey, moving forward, I'm sure based on what's happened, for all the people from 2020 to 2021 so far, hopefully we can find a vaccine and we can move forward with a little more, a little more certainty with what we're doing. I want those young people to know that, is this in our country, everyone's recognized what's happened to those young people, and hopefully we'll find a way to make it up to them as they continue to move through life, because they, that's through no fault of anyone's. It's just something that happened. No one could control it. It's no one's at fault. So it's how can we help these young people who had their careers, their opportunities and things like that become totally lost for something they've been chasing since they were probably 7, 8 years old. So that's kind of how I'm hopeful that we'll remember these when we look back, that we'll remember like 2020, when you see that on a resume and you see that on 2021 on something, no matter what industry it is, that you give those people some extra consideration, because they've been put in a situation that no young people in my lifetime have ever been put in. And then we've had wars and still been able to continue to play sports, for instance, and continue to have a job market that was still robust enough. This, what we have going on now, I mean, it's like nothing I've ever seen. And so we need to remember the 2020 and 2021 class coming up, as young people, not even athletes. I'm talking about across the board, everyone. And because they're going to need it. They're going to need, some help. And I think we as the adults, we need to make sure we keep that in the back of our mind when we're seeing what they're going through and what they're trying to, fight out of.
Thank you so much. And don't worry, I got a couple coaches in this company that I can't say no to either. So,
so you understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you.
All right.
Let's go out to Chris in Charlotte. And Coach, I think your record against Clemson at Duke must have been pretty successful.
Yeah,
Chris
probably got us pretty good, but yeah, big fan of yours. I actually just texted one of my good friends, Webb, who's a diehard Duke guy, and I said, "You know who that is?" And he goes, "Yeah, number 24 in the rafters." So, so there you go. But yeah, quick question. You played with Barkley for a few years. What's your favorite Chuck story that people don't know?
I think the biggest thing people that don't know about Charles is just how generous he is. And I've said that before. I mean, you can come up with all kind of funny things he's done on the court and off the court, but the biggest thing that I've admired about him is his heart. He is one of the biggest hearts. He's the type of young man that when you're in a restaurant, I can remember this happening in place. We'd be in a restaurant. I'm talking the restaurant is full of people. You're talking about 30, 40, 50 people, different tables, everywhere. And he doesn't know probably anyone except the people at his table. He's the type of guy that'll just pick up the tab for the entire restaurant at that time. I mean, who does that? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just he's very generous, and that's something that doesn't people don't really know that about him. So that's the thing that to me, I admire the most about him. Of course, he's candid. He always speaks his mind, which I think is a great thing as well. But the biggest thing is that he's very generous, and he does it without trying to receive any kind of notoriety. Like he wasn't trying to receive anything from what he did. It was just in his heart to do it, and he did it. And so that to me, I always admired that about him.
Great question. I got a text from Miguel up in who now is up in Canada, but from our Atlanta office. Miguel.
Hey, Johnny, huge fan. I really appreciate you taking the time. Complete irony, but 2 days ago, my daughter, 12 years old, was actually sketching out her plan on what she needs to do to study biology at Duke. So I thought that was pretty cool when you jumped on. And then I brought the two of them in with me so they can listen. So they're actually right behind my laptop. I have an aspiring hockey player who's literally just got dressed for his practice. Stop it, buddy. Who just got dressed for his practice. So he actually has tryouts all week next week, first time in Montreal. And I showed him the schedule of what he's going to have to undertake. And we had a conversation yesterday. And he was pretty frank when he said he feels a little overwhelmed. Really good player, but he's in a different world right now. Any advice that you would give for, and he's 11, so any advice that you would give for someone walking into a new situation that, to inspire them to do their best?
Well, that's always, that's a great question. I would say, I just look back on my time and we had a unbelievable program when I was in high school, and for 12 spots it was 72 of us trying out for 12 spots, and I'm looking around going, how in the heck am I going to stand out when there's that many players how am I going to pull this off? And the thing I found, was that, I'm going to go out there and do the things that no one else wants to do. I'm going to show the coach that, I'm going to compete in every single, I don't care if it's a drill, I'm competing in it. Now, I'm just not waiting for us to do live, going up against each other, scrimmaging. I'm competing in every single thing that we have, because that way I can stand out from the standpoint they can see my work ethic, they can see how hard I'm pushing and trying to, get better. And so I thought that was good for me. I thought it really helped. I stood out more because some guys went through the drills, they went through the motions because it wasn't live. I didn't approach it that way. I went through everything as if, hey, I'm trying to be the best at every single thing I do, and hopefully that'll be enough. We ran, did things for conditioning. I tried to win every race. I tried to always push and tried to win every one. These are the little things besides the skill things you got to do that kind of stands out, where coach, he admires that, he sees that, he understands the importance of having people on your team like that. And then the other thing I try to do is I always wanted to be a good teammate. So not only was I doing those things, but I always was encouraging the other players. I'm always, hey, that's okay, you'll get the next one, or, really good pass, or, good assist here, or whatever it may be, good shot, good defensive, stop. Whatever it was, I tried to be vocal enough where they could hear me, my voice, and being encouraging my teammates, showing leadership. So these are things you can do, and you don't have to be the best player to do those things. You don't need any, that doesn't, you don't have to be the highest jumper, the fastest skater, the runner, none of those things to do those things. And so I thought that was helpful for me. I've always used that formula, pretty much no matter what I've done in basketball or in life. And I found that to be very successful. And so I would say, just go out there and outwork people again for what you want, but be encouraging, speak, positively when you're out there, and just show you by your effort, man, that you want to be a part of that team.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you.
And Coach, so many of those things that you just shared translate to the business world so well, about being a good teammate, encouraging others, making sure you patting other people on the back, not just looking for all the recognition yourself, but supporting and uplifting other people. And I truly believe that that's the type of company we have, and where we come today comes from our teammates and the people that work with us every single day. And the business world and sports world really work well together. And I promise we won't keep you that long, but if you have time, we have one more question. Danny Poling, who's out in Oklahoma, just started with us this week. So Danny, I'll kick the floor over to you.
Hey, thanks so much, Bill. Appreciate it. Hey, Coach, big fan. Kind of trying not to fangirl out right now, seeing you. Quick question. I don't know if I'm assuming you've been watching the playoffs. What can the Thunder do differently to score points and utilize the bigs that they have against Houston? And then who do you got in the bubble to win it all?
Wow, that's tough. I'll tell you, first of all, I've really enjoyed watching the games. I haven't been able to watch all of them because of work, but the ones I've watched, it's been a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I thought some of the games have been, very, very good, close into the end. Really, I think Adam Silver's found something. He found a way to be successful. Like any, great leader of a company, he's found a way to make it work. And so it's been fun to watch as a fan of the NBA. And so I'll start there. And with the Thunder, I think Billy's done a great job with that team. I mean, to be quite frank, I don't think, first of all, anyone would have thought they would have been in that position, coming into this season. So what a phenomenal coaching job he's done. Secondly, I'd say, when you're playing against the Houston Rockets, just from my perspective, and I've seen them play them, is that, Houston is so good. And, James Harden is arguably, the best player in the NBA, one of the top three for sure, every year lately. So when you're playing against a guy that's that good, you're not going to stop him. You just have to find a way to contain him. You have to understand, you can't play, you can't really play their system. They have such a unique system with small ball and spacing the floor and shooting the three ball. I think, it's like the Golden State Warriors. When you try to play like them, you'll always end up being second best because they just have the best guys at doing what they do. So you have to try to come up with a way to kind of, force them to kind of play your way. You have to try to dictate to them. And whatever that is, as a coach, you got to find a way of how can I dictate to this team where they're trying to play my game as opposed to me playing their game. And if you can find that, which is very, very difficult, especially in the pros, if you can find that, then you give yourself a chance. But if you play the way they play, which is, you know, 3-ball, 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 we don't even want layups or mid-range shots. They have the better shooters. They're going to win 9 times out of 10. So you have to find a way to disrupt them and make them play a style that they become uncomfortable with. And what that is, I don't know. I mean, you got one of the greatest minds and coaches in the game up there doing that. I'm sure he's trying to figure all that out, you know, on a game-to-game basis right now himself. And so I would say that would be my take. What was your second question again?
Who do you have winning it all?
Winning it all. What a question. I mean, right now, I mean, I'm looking at the playoffs, and I think it's going to be hard to discount. I mean, there are a group of teams I think that have the makings of a championship team because they're built for it right now. I think there's some teams that are coming up so quickly, but I'm not sure if they're quite ready. Teams that I see coming up now, I like both the Lakers and the Clippers. I think both of those two teams have the makings. I think they have the experience. They've been there before. I think both of those teams has a chance. Out west, you have LeBron. Of course, you always have a chance. The Clippers, because you have Kawhi Leonard, you know, Paul George. I think those guys are experienced enough and talented enough, along with their supporting cast, to be successful. I think coming out of the East, of course, you have to pick. You know, you have to think Milwaukee. They had the best record, and they were playing great up until the season was cut short. But they'll round into shape and they'll get it done. And I think out of there, I think the team that's a sleeper for me in the East is Boston. Man, I like Boston. I think Boston, to me, is playing some good basketball. I've watched them several times. I'm like, they're a real sleeper. I mean, I could pick other teams like Dallas in the East or, you know, Dallas in the West or Miami in the East. But I think at the end of the day, Boston, Milwaukee out of the East, I think Lakers and Clippers out of the West. And it'll come somewhere in there between, you know, those teams. You know, pressed to say, you know, I would still keep it to myself. I don't know which one will win.
Awesome. And I promised we wouldn't keep you that long. I'll end it with the last one. 1985 Johnny Dawkins as a basketball player versus current day Aubrey Dawkins. Who wins in a one-on-one?
I would win. That wouldn't change. He's terrific, you know, but I'd win that. You know, we actually, you know, he's 6'6", really athletic. I'm 6'1". I was very athletic, but we had two different games. I was a one-on-one player. You know, that's what I was. I was a one-on-one specialist. He's more of a, you know, system. He fits in there, what he's going to do, and he can make plays from that situation, which is great in today's game. But I was in the game back during a time where, you know, you could ISO a guy and put him on the wing, and he's just going to take you off the bounce. And so I specialize at that more than he does. So he probably wouldn't beat me in that situation. But in the modern game, he'll be more successful because he shoots the ball way better than I ever thought I could shoot it. And he makes those plays that, you know, that you have to make in today's game to be successful. I probably would have passed up some of those plays with being a little more selfish.
Awesome. Well, it was a joy to watch Aubrey play and grow at UCF, and also how he interacted with all our kids and so nice with the people and the supporting the program. So thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Coach. And we can't wait to see you guys back on the court this year.
Hey, absolutely, Bill. Thank you, guys. Everybody, man, much success. Stay safe.
Thank
you.
you.